All right, it's been so long since I've done this. I can't remember if I remember how to do this. 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go. What's up, everyone? What's up, everyone? Welcome to the show. So much in the news, so much of what's going on. We're going to do a deep dive into all the outrage, all the clips I can possibly think of and find. Also, some news regarding our military and Republicans deciding they are Republicans. This is the Derek O'Shea Show.
Welcome to the revolution.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Derek O'Shea Show. If you want to support my show, you go to buymeacoffee.com/Derek O'Shea Show. That's buymeacoffee.com/Derek O'Shea Show. Link is in the description below, and I greatly appreciate every single one of you guys. I hope you guys are having a freaking fantastic day. It's been so long since I've gone live due to work. Yeah, I have like a job and stuff. But I hope you guys are having a good day. Senator Marco Rubio introduces a new bill to end the punishment of military academy members over COVID-19 vaccine refusal. Florida Republican Senator Marco Rubio introduced a bill on Wednesday to protect military academy cadets and punishment over declining the COVID-19 vaccine. The Defending Freedoms of Conscience for Cadets. What a name. The Defending Freedoms of Conscience for Cadets misshapen act would keep cadets from being punished for refusal over commission over the COVID-19 compliance. Why do I feel like this is relevant? Marco Rubio introducing a bill to allow cadets to refuse the vaccine due to the fact that election season is on its way. And this is the time when a lot of Republicans, same with Democrats and stuff like that, start pushing, getting more aggressive with their bills to say, hey, look what I did. See, I'm about freedom. See, I'm sticking up for the little guy. See what all I've done. And all these hit pieces on me are all false news, blah, 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 blah. It's nice to see a Republican like Marco Rubio actually standing up for people. But is this too little, too late, as they say? I'm going to say yes. If you are for medical freedoms, then I don't understand how you would be clapping this. You'd be like, wow, now is the time to do it. It should have been a long freaking time ago, especially during the midst of what was a war that was impending. Next story. So much in the news today, but I want to get this off my chest as far as seeing when a Republican actually does something that many people are for. It's nice to see. This is breaking. Mother of the Texas elementary school shooter claims her son, 18 years old, was not a violent person, but was a loner. She keeps vigil for her son's mother's side as he shot her in the face. I can't believe he shot his grandma in the face. It kind of just shows his view of looking at another and the empathy of another and how he doesn't even view the other people as human. Zero empathy, very psychopathic in its sense. Are we creating an entire generation of psychopaths with social media and the internet as we are dehumanizing and slowly moving farther and farther apart from seeing the other as human? The mother of the sick school shooter was shot dead, 19 children, 2 teachers and in Texas claim he wasn't a violent person. Interesting. This guy wasn't a violent person. But this is what her mother says, even though I guess this guy lives with his grandmother. I don't really know what to think about all this due to more stuff coming out by the day. As always, I saw a lot of Republicans, a lot of conservatives passing around. These are just devastating. I saw a lot of people passing around these fake pictures of this guy that wasn't the real picture, claiming that he was transgender. He's not. All right, you saw those pictures being passed around a lot, and people are asking why. Apparently, just a guy that looks just like him. But then we saw Governor Abbott today start to come out and talk about what happened today. And as always, a famous politician decide now is the time to speak up. But here's Governor Abbott. Here's Governor Abbott actually talking about evil. And this is what I talked about yesterday in my podcast about what happened yesterday, in that it is just pure evil. It's a psychopath. It's somebody who can't even, is not even worried about empathy, not even looking at the person as the other, but looking at as something other than human. So he responded to, what is this? Is this evil? Is this a mental health classification? Listen to Governor Abbott's words.
Governor, you said yesterday evil is in your town, something to that effect, but then you also are saying that this is a mental health issue. And that's
Sorry, the volume on this video is terrible.
what needs to be addressed. I don't believe evil is a mental health classification. Do you see this as a mental health issue or some kind of biblical battle between evil that's always going to be out there? So I'm having trouble reconciling this idea of evil and a mental health issue.
So, and very interestingly, in the meeting that we had before coming out here, I raised that exact issue because we talked about mental health. And to me, someone who is as demented as it takes to kill little kids, it goes beyond, seems to me, a mental health issue. I mean, that is the sheer face of evil itself. And so, listen, I'm not a doctor. I can't classify these things. And I don't know the extent to which mental health would be able to address someone who has the challenges that they would shoot their grandmother and then shoot and kill all these babies, all these young kids. Kind of what was pointed out at the time in our discussion earlier is that there could have been a time earlier in his life when it was a more typical mental health issue that could have been addressed. I don't have any information about that, and maybe others don't either, but is there a difference between a mental health challenge that can be addressed and evil? I don't know. It's a big...
If you're saying that you think he's evil, shouldn't we be keeping guns out of evil people's hands? Because it's not fixable through mental health, which you're saying on one hand that it's fixable through mental health, and we have to, that you started straight out, mental health. So, you know...
And this...
And that oversimplifies things. Like, if you go and oversimplify this, but to just say it's evil seems to oversimplify it.
Well, it obviously is a meaningful characterization. And the point is this, if you know someone more evil, I want to see what they did. But I consider this person to have been pure evil.
Ugh. God, I cannot stand when reporters like argue with people they're asking questions to. If you're ever in a situation where you want to ask somebody a question and you want to get to know them and want to get their point of view, don't argue with them as you talk. Just ask the question. Anyways, the reporter so eloquently said that saying it's just evil is writing it off. I would disagree with that statement. I would say, in some ways, saying it's just a mental health issue is also writing it off to some degree. Maybe it's both. To say that what Hitler did was just a mental health issue would be absolutely ridiculous. On its face, what Hitler did was just as evil as what this kid did. Looking at another human being, especially children, and not seeing it as human. Having no empathy towards these children's pain or the teacher's pain, but only concerned about himself and with zero empathy. To some degree, there is a mental health issue, and that is clearly very psychopathic, where he can't take someone else's feelings into account or just refuses to. I mean, there's like so many of what we could diagnose, but his act is evil. The guy might have had a mental health disorder. Is how I think how the conversation should be. Is like the kid clearly had a mental health issue, because nobody in their right mind looks at a child, especially that young, and just thinks, I'm going to come in here and blow the room away. That act is so evil and so sinister and so sick that you have to have some kind of mental disorder in order to view a child in light like that. You can't just be somebody who is consciously thinking these things through. All right, it's like even gang members who do horrible acts won't go to an elementary school and do this. You have to have some kind of mental problem. The act itself is evil. And that's the problem a lot of these reporters, a lot of people on the left, a lot of people in different aisles don't understand. They don't have a category for evil because, you know, they don't believe in God, or they have any, like, morality, or who defines morality, who gives us the basis to truth and stuff like that. So they don't understand how someone like myself or Abbott or somebody could say this person is pure evil. This act is pure evil, because they don't have a category for evil in their head. It's just the same as like beauty. So because I believe in God, because I believe that there is truth, I believe that there is good and there is evil, and that, like, it's clear in me when something good in my life happens. I can feel, I know it's good. It looks like something God tells me I should do. When I see something that's evil, it's the complete opposite. And are we creating an entire generation who's so fixated on themselves, so fixated on their own problems above the other? And that's my question always, is that because this conversation is is not a simple conversation. Politicians are going to pretend like it is a simple conversation. They're going to pretend like, hey, if we just put a new law on, people aren't going to do these things. Why does it happen in this country, even though that's not true at all, but we're going to say it anyways? Why before the 90s did it seem like school shootings weren't really a thing? I mean, it happened a few times in history books, but why does it seem so rampant now? Is it because they're glorified to some degree? Is it because we share their picture on all social media platforms? Is it because of some kind of mentality issue? Is there a drug that a lot of teens are taking that is creating them to become this way? Like, there are so many questions that people don't want to have the conversation about because it gets sticky. So instead, they want to have, if you just put background checks on, which there are background checks, even if you buy online. I know that's like a weird misconception with a lot of my friends who don't have guns that say, hey, if you just buy a gun online, you don't have to go through a background check. That's not true. You still have to go through a background check. So to fix this horrible problem is going to have a conversation of things that people are going to become uncomfortable about, or we're just going to continue to put a Band-Aid on the issue. It's just the same in some degree as the drug epidemic, the overdose, the addictions in our country. Nobody wants to have a real conversation about that. People are just like, we'll do the war against drugs thing. We'll just make everything illegal, or we'll make, the crimes or the punishments stricter and stricter and stricter, and people are just going to stop. Well, you're not factoring in what humans are capable of and what we strive to do in order to find relief or freedom, or especially in midst of pain. So there is just like so many factors of what's going on. But of course, we don't want to have a real conversation. I take the stance of, I would like more people to engage in their community, more people to engage with people that are hurting, more people that are especially looking after troubled youth. Because we spent the last 2 years of kids locking them in their houses, putting them on in front of a television screen, and them creating this new illusion that people aren't, really people, and I can just do whatever I want because it's online. I mean, you see it clearly with like meme posting and shit posting and stuff like that online, where kids will just say and do things that they would never say to people's faces ever, because there would be retribution. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts. Next clip. So we couldn't have just had an honest conversation with Governor Abbott and just him giving the facts about the horrible act, we had to have a stupid politician stick his nose out and show how much he cares about the human public. He's like, I feel like this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm an activist politician. I care about the people. So I'm going to take this moment, and instead of making it about these kids, I'm going to make it about myself because I'm a politician that cares. Don't let anyone lie to you or tell you that a lot of these politicians care about you. They don't care about you. They will use anything in any situation in order to gain more power, more followers, more influence, or have a moment. This is his moment. This is his, as Cory Booker says, his Spartacus. I am Spartacus. I am Beto O'Rourke. I skateboard. But here he is interrupting a press conference to tell Governor Abbott the blood is on his hands, essentially, which, again, is just the most insane comment known to man. But this is where we're at in our politics because, the decency is back. The adults are back in the room.
I can't believe you're sick son of a bitch.
This is not the place to do that. This is on you until you choose to do something different. This will continue to happen. Somebody needs to stand up for the children of this state, or they will continue to be killed, just like they were killed in Uvalde yesterday.
What about the First Amendment?
Oh my God. Don't you love people screaming? It's the First Amendment. No, you don't get to be a douche in the middle of a press conference. That's not the First Amendment. This is obviously not a public square. God. Everyone thinks they have like all these gotcha moments when they clearly aren't a gotcha moment. But of course, we have our politicians deciding that now's the time to push down new laws, because they see every crisis as a moment to push what they believe, because this is what we're about and in today's culture, and it's perpetuated by the clicks that we give them and the corporate media consistently pushing down. And speaking of corporate media, as we go down the rabbit hole, let's watch how, of course, CNN responds to this situation of just, you would think they would stop and say, a man shouldn't have done something like this, but Beto O'Rourke is Beto O'Rourke, and he's a Vanity cover model.
Beto O'Rourke, as I mentioned, confronted Texas Governor Greg Abbott during that press conference. CNN's Ed Lavandera was inside. Ed, what happened there, and what did he say after?
Well, as the governor was going through his introductory remarks, before he started taking questions, Beto O'Rourke, who had come into the press conference just moments before it started and sat down in the third row, then stood up and started confronting the governor. It didn't take long, if you watch the video of all of this, for others in the crowd to start yelling back at Beto O'Rourke. But this is some of the exchange that we saw unfold just a short while ago.
Excuse me. Sit down. You're out of line and an embarrassment. Sit down and don't play this stuff.
Next shooting is right now, and you are doing nothing.
No, you need to get out of here. This isn't the place to talk this over.
This is totally predictable when you...
Sir, you're out of line. Sir, you are out of line. Sir, you are out of line. Please leave this auditorium.
I love watching somebody that has clearly a speech prepared, trying to pretend like they're authentic. He's like, I wrote this down and I need to get this off my chest.
I can't believe you're a sick son of a come to a deal like this to make a political issue.
And that person you saw there behind the governor and the lieutenant governor yelling, you're out of line, is the mayor of Uvalde. And as he was being escorted out, Beto O'Rourke started telling the governor, turned around once again and said, this is on you. As long as gun laws in this state are not changed, then...
God, what a idiotic statement also. That's like saying that, oh, like all the fentanyl deaths are due to our border czar for not locking down the border. I guess that's fair, huh? Okay, we could play that game.
There will continue to be more children killed, like here in Uvalde. Beto O'Rourke was escorted out of the press conference in the press briefing area, and he spoke with reporters afterwards.
Of course he spoke with reporters afterwards, because, again, no politician, especially in our politicians today, they're going to use every moment, every emergency, everything that they possibly can in order for them to have their gotcha moment, for their social media to explode, for them to have clicks, and people can go, look, that's my governor. Look at him go. He's acting like a 5-year-old boy who can't have a conversation. Telling another governor after a horrific, one of the worst school shootings, saying the deaths are on your hands. Like, it's going to continue to happen. This was totally predictable. Beto O'Rourke totally knows everything that's going to happen before it happens. Because what stops people from committing crimes? Laws.
18-year-old who just turned 18 bought an AR-15 and took it into an elementary school and shot kids in the face and killed them. Why are we letting this happen in this country? Why is this happening in this state?
What up, I need you?
Year after year, city after city. This is on all of us if we do not do something, and I am going to do something, and I'm not alone. The people of Texas are with us. The majority of the people of Texas are with us.
It's just that it would be different if Beto decides that I'm going to have a press conference and give my response of how I would respond. But no, he decides I'm going to stand up in this moment, overtake everything that's going on, and turn the cameras and reflect onto me and my platform and what I'm running on, and everyone needs to go ahead and vote for me because I'll save your kid's life because I'm the savior. I'm God. I need you says just grandstanding come from people that don't protect on board. Yeah. Well, it's hilarious hearing about like the pro-life people, like pro-choice people talking about like saving kids' lives. It's the irony of them talking about that, but this is where we're at. And in politics, just grandstanding. Everything's about the candidate. Everything's about the moment. Oh my God. It's almost like he's reveling and thankful that something like this happened, so that gives him a platform to talk. That's how like sinister I think a lot of our politicians are, where they're just like, oh, finally a moment that I can go and show the world how good of a person I am, and how if I was just elected, nothing bad would happen. Okay, Beto, we can play that game. Let's look at all Democrat-run cities. How well are they doing with crime right now, especially murders? I don't know. Let's talk about Lori Lightfoot. On a weekly basis, I always look up every Monday because I just moved from Chicago for this reason alone, because of how terribly ran it was. On the weekends alone, up to 30 people usually every weekend were shot, killed. Kids included, playing on playgrounds, middle of the daylight. Does anybody freak out? Does anybody lose their minds? No, because it doesn't fit their narrative. I get so sick of the bull crap. I wish there was consistency, and I wish our politicians were held accountable like Beto O'Rourke on both sides of the aisle for saying, you know what, not a good move to make this about you in this moment. You shouldn't be talking about people voting for you because if they vote for you, your children are going to be safe. What a crazy, crazy statement in itself there. Of saying, you vote for me, I'll protect your children. Really? You'll protect my kids from crime? I don't believe you. How about that?
So you can clearly see the political intensity of what this event is triggering here in Texas. Beto O'Rourke, of course.
Look how happy he is. Beto got up and he did his thing. He got Governor Abbott. God, I'm so sick of these Republicans. Let's turn Texas purple.
course, facing off against Governor Greg Abbott in the November election. Abbott is up for re-election this year.
Look how happy she is, too. She's got a little smirk on her. At least the guy in the middle is even keeled a little bit.
Beto O'Rourke running against him, and you can imagine that this is going to be one of the key campaign issues that Beto O'Rourke will continue to carry on. But remember...
And can we stop calling him Beto? His name is Francis. Get it right. It's not Beto. Hey, it's me, Beto. No, your name is Francis, all right? That's like me. What if my middle name was like Gonzalez? You know, it's just like, I'm Derek Gonzalez O'Shea, but call me Gonzalez. Yeah.
This is a state that is extremely conservative. This is a county that voted for Donald Trump in the 2020 presidential election. And there have been many thoughts, and Beto O'Rourke has talked about taking away.
Even CNN is talking about election season. You know, it's just like they can't even have a moment of just solidarity, a moment of peace, a moment of reverence, of just like, oh my God, the most horrific act. They're just like, no, oh crap, my camera. No, we need to have a moment where we talk about the next election season. That's what we need to talk about right now. Blah.
AR-15s. He has taken a great deal of criticism on that from Texas Republicans, but clearly Beto O'Rourke leaning into that and feeling very comfortable making that a campaign issue going into the rest of this year.
Oh my God.
And I remember in 2019 hearing something similar from Beto O'Rourke when he was running for president.
Even him saying, Beto. I remember hearing him. He said, the Beto is a man.
Come on, man.
Thank you, Joe. At least Joe gets it.
After the El Paso shooting there, and still here we are several years later with another mass shooting there in Texas. Ed Lavendera, thank you. Beto.
All right, next clip. God, Beto O'Rourke is the epitome of everything I hate about politics, is that it's just so fake, and you can feel how fake it is. And like, even when Vanity Fair put him on the cover of saying, I was born for this. And I don't even live in Texas, and just looking at him makes me annoyed. Am I alone in this? Just like, he's too clean cut. He's too perfect. He skateboards. He's too smooth. Like, he's like, it's funny that Democrats and people on the left talk about white privilege all the time, but then they put out somebody like him and they're like, this guy knows how you feel. All right, next clip. Here's Governor Abbott responding to Beto O'Rourke, taking a moment to, make it about himself, because that's what politicians do. But here's Governor Abbott responding. I'm not the biggest fan of Governor Abbott, but here's Governor Abbott responding. At least he didn't freak out back.
There are family members. There are family members who are crying as we...
My favorite, you could still hear audience members screaming, saying, it's a constitutional right. No, it's not. It's like me walking up to a Dave Chappelle show and just like, hey, I have something I need to get off my chest. It's constitutional. No, you can go and do your little speech outside. No one's telling you to shut up, Beto. People are just saying, hey, this is a press conference. And also, it's like somebody going to a funeral and being like, I have something I gotta get off my chest. Hey, don't take me away. It's constitutional.
We speak. There are family members whose hearts...
Sorry, I gotta get back to okay. Now I'm gonna listen.
There are family members. There are family members who are crying as we speak. There are family members whose hearts are broken. There's no words that anybody shouting can come up here and do anything to heal those broken hearts. Every Texan, every American has a responsibility where we need to focus not on ourselves and our agendas. We need to focus on the healing and hope that we can provide to those who have suffered unconscionable damage to their lives and loss of life. We need all Texans to, in this one moment in time, put aside personal agendas, think of somebody other than ourselves, think about the people who were hurt, and help those who have been hurt.
Preach.
And this time, Lieutenant Governor will speak.
Man, I mean, he must listen to my podcast. But I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. That's exactly what you have to do in these times, is find people that are hurting in your life and enter into their pain, because that's the only way stuff like this gets healed and also is prevented, is entering into one another's pain. But we've created an entire culture, entire class of citizens who's more concerned about themselves and living out selfishly, and we're trying to figure out why don't people have as much reverence for humanity or humankind or each other as they used to? Have you not been paying attention to culture? Have you not been paying attention to things that are going on in the world, or what is being taught, or how our politicians talk to each other, or how our movies are made, or social media posts, or, I mean, stuff that our politicians push down our throats? There's constantly a push to be more selfish and more self-centered and not look at the other as human being, not look at the other as somebody who's hurting or in pain, but just get over it, because it's about me and this is my moment now. And honestly, that's, I think, our biggest problem as a culture, is we are so fixated and encouraged, just do you, make yourself happy. It's all about you. It's don't help somebody else. Just cut them out of your life if they're, hurting you, or, we're so fixated on ourselves. We don't know how to help other people, and we don't know how to think through these issues, because it's dirty and messy, and that's the problem for me. And again, I'm totally okay with being wrong, but people like Obama prove it to me, because here's Obama and his tweet today coming out and says, "As we grieve the children of Uvalde," is it Uvalde? I don't know. Uvalde. I should have looked this up. This is why many people don't do live shows, because you don't want to look like an idiot, and I am. As we grieve the children today, we should take time to recognize that 2 years have passed since the murder of George Floyd under the knee of a police officer. His killing stays with us all to this day, especially those who loved him. When I tell people that these people in political power, they don't love you, is this hope and change? Is this the hope and change that a lot of people feel like they voted for? I prayed that this was fake. As we grieve the children, let's remember George Floyd. This is our last president. But, this stuff will never get called out for, because he's a Democrat. Any logical person on any side of the aisle would look at this, even if Trump put this out or anything. If Trump said, let's remember, Kyle Rittenhouse and this time, I don't know. I'm trying to think of what would the right say. But this is just psychotic. As we grieve multiple digits of children dying, let's remember George Floyd. And they wonder why we're crazy. And they wonder why somebody like me will look at this and go, this is just an insane statement. And it shouldn't be celebrated and should be condemned. Let me know your thoughts. But they wonder why we're crazy. And then, not to be outdone, here's Joe Biden today. He had to talk about the Second Amendment, because, this is the time. Yesterday, in the middle of the speech, he came out, instead of just having a moment of bringing people together in hope and prayer and pain and suffering, he started to talk about freaking gun lobbies. Like, gun lobbies have the same power as they did in the 90s. The NRA isn't the NRA of the 90s. Let's just get that through people's heads. It's not the same. In fact, somebody that has been following the NRA, that place is rife with just like using funds wrongly, all kinds of stuff, and huge names leaving because of how poor it's run. The NRA isn't what people think it is. But here's Joe Biden talking about the Second Amendment. Because, they're not out to get your guns.
And we must ask, when in God's name will we do what needs to be done to, if not completely stop, fundamentally change the amount of the carnage that goes on in this country?
That's right. If there are just less guns being bought, there'll be less pain.
To state the obvious, and Corey and a lot of other people here, I'm sick and tired.
These same people also never factor in that around 3 million self-defense uses with a firearm are used every year, that save people's lives. Nobody wants to talk about that. Pickles and jars for Hillary. O'Rourke wrote poetry about waxing. Oh, Beto O'Rourke is probably the worst person on earth. But here's Joe Biden talking about what needs to be done. As we saw Steve Kerr talk about, when is this going to end? We just need to end this. Like, background checks are anything. I have news for a lot of people out there. People don't know that, but you get a background check even if you buy online. Here's Joe Biden.
Goes on in this country. To state the obvious, and Corey and a lot of other people here, I'm sick and tired. I'm just sick and tired of what's going on and continues to go on.
Yes, me too.
I spent my career as chairman of the Judiciary Committee and as vice president.
Talking about himself, but here we go.
Working for common sense gun reforms.
And what's common sense gun reform? I don't know. What's an assault weapon? I don't know. I'm just going to say these things because when I can be vague, I can show people I care. And I can show people, then I can just write the law however I want to write. But if people actually I wish they would come out and say what does common sense gun law mean? What does that mean? Background checks? Cool. That's already a thing. Next. Because I'm pretty sure your son Hunter got the same background check I did.
As I said, as a senator and a vice president. While they clearly will not prevent every tragedy,
God,
we know certain ones will have significant impact and have no negative impact on the Second Amendment.
What? Wait. Again, I can't. It's hard to follow someone that has this much inconsistencies or vagueness in the way that they talk. Like, you just like, yeah, I'm for common sense gun control. What's common sense? But what does that mean?
Second Amendment. Second Amendment's not absolute. When it was passed, you couldn't own a
cannon? Yeah.
You couldn't own a cannon.
Oh my God! I have not watched this clip. Oh God. Yeah, that's right. You can't own a cannon. So, end of story. And a cannon has the same damage as an AR-15. What are we talking about here? Joe, do you even know what caliber is in an AR-15? Probably not, but we'll continue.
You couldn't own certain kinds of weapons. It's just always been limitations.
And then there was a time and period where kids would carry guns to school, but we don't do that anymore either, so.
But guess what? These actions we've taken before, they saved lives.
I just get so bored of our politics sometimes. Like, Joe Biden is a perfect example of somebody pretending to care, pretending like he's worried about what's going on in Texas as he makes it about himself. I did all these great things. All right. Remember how all the things I passed back in the day. Don't think about these victims right now. Think about how good of a person I am. And I'm doing everything I can to make your life more safe. So praise me. Praise be to Biden. Yes, praise Biden. It's so disingenuous and not real, and everything's fake. Like, it's just so silly. And here is a new internet sensation. They call him Russell Brand. And he actually has some decent words, it seems to be. Let's check out this video together.
I would invite you to contemplate the question, why is there so much fear? Why is there so much anxiety? Why is there so much suffering? This happened in an impoverished community, a community of 16,000 people, many of whom are living in conditions of poverty. I think we have to look at the way we organise society. I think that when you have centralised elite institutions that issue doctrine and dictates without necessarily being affected by the results of the decisions they make, it creates a kind of maddening, desperate society. This is symptomatic of a deeper malaise, horrific though it is. For me, it thematically fits in with the general breakdown of our society, with the ongoing conflict and conflagration. I don't think we should be looking to blame any individual or group for this horrific event. I think we should turn our attention to healing. On both sides of the cultural argument at the moment, people are full of sturm and drang and fury and condemnation. These people are to blame. These people are to blame. We're all participating in this society. One way or another, we've made our way here together.
I like the part where you said, I think we should turn our attention to healing. But trying to say, there is somebody to blame. It's the kid that shot the kids, you know? He's clearly to blame. To say otherwise is to take away the actual pain and suffering. It's like not blaming the Nazis for the horrific acts they did to the Jews. Like, let's not blame that Nazi. Let's blame the whole, like, it's on us. No. So I think that's the difference between like a collective thinker where they don't really see individuals in a sense. They see it more as a collection, they see culture as a collection. They see people as a collection. And it's like, we're all in this together. We need to change together. But he is right, though. We do need to heal. We do need to grow and figure out how to best fight this, as opposed to just saying, you know what, it's just a new phenomenon and we can't explain it, but if we push more laws, all of a sudden it'll go away. I don't think that's true. This is a crazy new way in which a lot of kids feel like this is the way to do things. And we need to ask why. Is it because of the pharmaceutical stuff that they're on? Is it because of the things that we're telling them how to live? Is it because of the lack of morality that goes on in schools today? Is it because of social media? I mean, is it because of home life? Is it because of parent situation? Is it what is it? Those conversations are the difficult conversations that people do not want to engage in, especially politicians. Why? I think a couple of reasons. I don't think they're smart enough. I think that they just see a lot of these laws as a way to stay in power, and so they'll say and do whatever they can. Especially somebody like Beto O'Rourke. Give me a break. Like, voting for you, all of a sudden my child is going to be safer because of you. I disagree. But there are so many. I'm not even getting in that, like, the gun debate. I'm just talking about the humanistic side of why, even when I worked in education, I saw kids look at the other differently because of social media, because of what's propagated and encouraged in social media a lot, and also what's taught by teachers and taught by, because it's about you. How do you feel in this moment? What do you feel like? Are you triggered? Are you, instead of like worrying about the other person, it's always worrying about myself. And I think we're creating an entire generation of selfish people who aren't concerned about other people's feelings or having empathy towards one another. We just are. And it's sad to see, and people don't want to have a conversation about that because it's icky. It's not funny. It's not fun. Why don't you just like rail on somebody and make somebody look stupid? That's more fun. That's why I think it's our biggest problem. We have an entire generation of people, especially kids, that are more excited about destroying someone's humanity and who they are as a person than having a deep, intellectual, loving conversation or growing and serving one another. We just, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just see that more and more. Speaking of loneliness, and speaking of like, this story caught my eye as I was talking about, our culture, our generation of people, and loneliness and not being able to connect with one another, and just like not even have empathy for another person. New York State giving robots to elderly residents to relieve loneliness. Hundreds of elderly New Yorkers will receive robotic companions to help relieve their loneliness as part of a program in the state of New York. So this is where we're at, you know. We're a very lonely culture and generation of people. Even myself to some extent, that we stare at our phones. We're on our phones all the time. We're consuming all the time. We're not creating enough. We're not engaging in conversation enough, and we're lonely. We're deep down. We're lonely, and we just want to be known, and we'll do whatever it takes to be known. So much so that we will create a robot to take care of our grandparents, because I don't want to take care of them. That's icky and gross. And they stink. And they don't have teeth. And they poop their pants. That's disgusting. I'll get a robot to do that. I don't want to take care of that crap. See, speaking of, as we continue down the rabbit hole of just dehumanizing people, here's father of 7. Sorry, this is like such a depressing episode. It's just like, this week has been a tough week, so. And eye-opening in a lot of ways. Father of 7, Josh Duggar, is sentenced to 12 and a half years in prison for downloading, quote, the worst of the worst child porn from his computer in an Arkansas car dealership. You're at your job. Sentenced to 12 years for downloading child porn. Even the fact that child porn is a thing is so disgusting and so evil and maniacal. And obviously this guy has a serious mental health. And again, when I say mental health, I'm not just saying you should just talk to someone. No, maybe you should be taken somewhere and looked after, and because you're not safe for the public. I mean, clearly. But that's disgusting. I saw this last night. Ricky Gervais' new special on Netflix. I watched it last night. And I watched the new Ricky Gervais special for a couple reasons. One, everyone's saying, it's so crazy. It's so insane. He just goes after transgender people, and Netflix people are going to be so crazy. And I watched it, and it wasn't that crazy. There's maybe 3 jokes that were pretty funny. But this was, I think, the funniest joke. Where is it? Oh, okay, here it is. All right, let's watch. I think this was the funniest joke from the entire special. And again, this is the joke that everyone's losing their minds about.
Women, I mean the old-fashioned ones. You know, the old-fashioned women. Oh, God. You know, the ones with wombs. Oh. Those dinosaurs. No, I love the new women. I know the new women. They're great, aren't they? You know, the new ones we've been seeing lately. The ones with beards and they're as good as gold. I love them. No, it's the old-fashioned. And now the old-fashioned, they go like, oh, they want to use our toilets. Why shouldn't they use your toilets? For ladies. They are ladies. Look at their pronouns.
He goes on and talks about it a little bit more, and it gets funnier. Let's see if this gets funnier.
No, I don't want to divide the room, but I'm not a fan of Hitler.
See, you know, it's stuff like that was like, it gets us funny. Like Ian Miles Chung, I'm watching Ricky Gervais special, new Netflix special. It's brilliant. There's so many jokes about wokies, groomers, and transgender ideology. No wonder Netflix put out a statement telling employees to quit if they don't like it. If this comedy special was put out 10 or 15 years ago, it would be so harmless. I didn't think it was that insane, to be honest. I did enjoy it, and I do love the fact that he is standing up to the woke crap that gets pushed down, and also, you know, everyone should be allowed to make fun of everything and everyone. There should be nothing safe. It's funny that all these people that are fighting back for this, you know, for years Christians were made fun of and no one cared, and I didn't care. And here's Esme. This is top on Twitter. So I wrote an article about Ricky Gervais and how his latest stand-up perpetuates discriminatory, false stereotypes about trans people. His desire to be canceled moves the conversation away from actual issues affecting the trans community. I'm just blah. It's a comedian making jokes. Just don't watch it. You think, or you could just say it's stupid. And then this comedian came out. God, woke comedy is like the worst. There's nothing worse than a comedian going after another comedian. It's just like, ugh. But I mean, I remember a time when you could just make fun of everything, and that's what I enjoyed. That's why I love South Park so much. It seems like they are okay with making fun of anyone and everyone. If you don't think you are going to be offended by South Park, your episode just hasn't been made yet. And that's what was so great about comedy. Let's get back to a time where nothing was safe. Comedy was better. Art is better. Movies are better. Plays are better. Songs are better. You can go down the list. Art is just better when art is free. When art is constrained and said, this is a little circle that you can talk about. And if you go outside, that's not art. You're just you're punching down. And again, I also love like comedians like this guy that make it seem like his entire special was about transgender. And again, I watched the special last night. I watched it in entirety. So you can take my word for it. I'm not one of these people that talk about something. I'm not like it's like people that talk about Joe Rogan that clearly don't listen to Joe Rogan or didn't watch the episode or whatever. I watched the whole episode. I think there was like 3 jokes in the hour-long special. But again, they make everything is over the top. Everything is over emotional because they want to gain your attention and create a narrative and create you on your edge because they can't bear to have you have the upper leg, especially in comedy. But we need more comedians to speak up because that's the only way it changes. The more people like you and me that speak up about these issues, that speak up about realities, speak up about our lives, are not afraid to get canceled or whatever, the less it happens. The more people that cower in fear, hide, and say, I don't want people to know that I think this way or I'm scared. The more that happens, the less people stand up. And you get crap like that. Because I watched this guy. I can't believe people actually pay comedians. The woke comedian thing, I don't get it. It's like Hannah Gatsby. What is it? Hannah Gatsby? I can't remember. Or Amy Schumer. Terrible. Just terrible. How do they get Netflix deals and money? I don't know. I don't get it. Take me back to the green-ass city where the grass is green and the girls are pretty. I just miss old comedy sometimes. All right, as we continue down the pipe. This just came out. Climate change strikes again. Molotov cocktails were found in Santa Monica Mountains and a man arrested. So many of these California fires, including Colorado, including other places in the world, are started by arsons. But then, of course, as always, if it fits the narrative, we're going to pretend like it's you fill in the blank. This is a problem. There are a lot of people that start fires in California, including professors of Stanford. And climate change is real. I mean, I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying that I wish a lot of these fires that happen, especially that are man-made fires that blow up in like catastrophes, I wish the conversation was more about like stopping these people. But you never hear about people that are starting fires. You don't. All you hear about is these fires are due to you driving your truck. And that's I feel like that's all I hear about. Another crazy thing out of the gate is Daily Mail put up a uterus-shaped cereal aims to normalize the conversation about periods at the breakfast table. Yes! Conversation at the breakfast table. Aim to encourage conversation about periods. Because I know it goes well with breakfast. My period. And in fact, I'm on my period right now. So lay off, man! God. We're a crazy population right now. Speaking of crazy, you know the saying, weak men create hard times. I think this video right here is a perfect example as you watch this dude grab a woman's hair in a subway and men, especially men in muscle shirts, standing and not doing anything. In fact, one is filming.
My fuck widow!
Oh, sorry. Stands around, sits next to this girl. One girl knows to get up, and the other girl doesn't. And then he grabs this girl's hair. Look at that grab. Pulls her down, and she is fearing for her life in this moment. And there are men around just staring like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to get involved. You know, if everyone, including the guy with this nice little, what is that, denim jacket, would turn around and all of them attack this person at the same time, it would stop. But no, we don't see each other as human anymore. And so we can't, I don't want to intervene. It's not my problem. Nothing bad is happening to me in this situation. Sucks for her though. I mean, but I'm going to film it and maybe I'll get some likes on TikTok. Look at her. She is mouthing the words, "Help me." And the dude behind the camera is like, I'm filming. It's going to be everywhere. He's praying. And I just imagine God is looking down going, do something.
Get up! Shut the fuck up!
Sorry about the language.
You know how?
What I do.
This guy.
You know how?
He's talking about demons. You know, it's like people like this run around the streets of inner cities and people are like, nah, they don't need help. They need a house. And it just kind of ends. But, you know, it starts out with people everywhere just staring and watching, including this guy with the beard. You should shave your beard immediately when you get home. These two women just sitting there. This guy on the phone. Look at this guy right here with like a muscle shirt on. But we've created an entire generation of people who do not care about other people besides themselves. I mean, seriously, change my mind. You're trying to figure out what's going on in the world, why there's so much evil, why is there so much pain and suffering, and then you watch a video like this and you're like, I don't know, I just can't figure it out. I have no idea. I just can't. Why is no one helping? Because we've done this. And when I say we, I just mean like politicians, corporate media, movies, social media especially. Like the list goes on. But this is what happens when you create an entire generation of people who are psychopaths. Literally psychopaths. They don't have empathy for the other. They're not concerned. They're just like, if I intervene, what's going to happen to me? And that, in some degree, that's true. You know, some degree, somebody might intervene and beat the crap out of this person if like a bunch of people do, and maybe they go to jail for saving this girl's life. Because that's the society we built up. Freaking pissed. God, I hate watching this crap. And of course, it's easy for me in my chair to sit and say I would do something in that situation. And I've been in terrible situations in Chicago with people on trains losing their minds, freaking out, all kinds of crazy stuff. But I've never watched a lady just get attacked and me just sit there and watch. I don't know what I assume I would take action. I would assume I would be like, hey, let's do something together. But that's just me. I'm going to raise no fool. We go on to the next story. And what's going on at the World Economic Forum, you ask? You're like, Derek, I haven't heard a lot besides, some creepy Klaus Schwab quotes. But here's, World Economic Forum. I forget. Executive Director of International World Economic Forum. Here she goes. Her name is Oxfam. Just kidding. All right, here's the director of the WEF. Listen to her words carefully.
Rise in billionaires has been, unprecedented during the pandemic, and there's been several sectors where that has been mostly concentrated, and one is, in fact, the pharma sector, because COVID has been one of the most profitable products ever. So that's...
So profitable. It's like a product. It's just like, let's keep making more, though, because then we can become richer. Yeah. It's just a product, It's like getting a cup of coffee. It's like, how do I become... God. This is the way people view you. And people are like, again, we can go back to the humanistic side of like, well, how do these people look at something like COVID-19 and just laugh at? I'm not even talking about like, COVID, the disease, the virus itself. I'm just talking about what happened to people's livelihoods as people got rich. As she says, made people rich. So not anyone that's not here. Everyone here got rich. Right, guys? We love it. Oh, God. I don't even want to listen to these people sometimes. I save the best for last. Just the psychotic people for last. And I'm at the point where, like, I don't even want to watch it. But maybe I'll just end with this as we watch Beto O'Rourke do his thing again.
You're doing nothing. No, we're offering us nothing. You said this is not predictable. This is totally predictable with you. Sir, you're out of line. Sir, you're out of line. Sir, you're out of line. Please stop this from happening. Get out. Get out of here. Get out. I can't believe you're a sick son of a bitch.
I think my final point for today's podcast is today's live show is to don't be like politicians. Don't be like the corporate media, looking for trauma, looking for situations to make it about yourself. Or even while I'm saying this, like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, why would someone take a press conference about dead children and then make it about how he's going to fix this and make your lives better if they just vote for him? I mean, and he carried it outside of this press conference to make it about himself and how he's going to fix it. True pain and suffering is still happening. True hurt, true trauma, true horror still being played out in people's brains as they go home and their child isn't there in their bed. So my thoughts to you in today's final thought is that engage in the pain of other people's pain. Walk with them as they are hurting. Don't try to fix their pain. A lot of people, when they encounter pain or suffering in another human being's life, is that they want to fix it. They want to, let's just fix it. If we just, pass a law, the pain will go away. Even if whatever law they can dream up of that passes is not going to heal these families, these kids, these teachers, the community at large, the officers that are involved, the whole gamut. Enter in the pain of someone else's pain and walk with them. And take time out of your life to make a difference in someone else's life. We have an entire culture and generation of kids, especially, that are more concerned about themselves and more concerned about the jokiness of life and the shit posting, the memes, the mocking of everything. Like I love a good joke, and I do mock a lot of stuff, and I think it's important to relieve the tension, and that's why I mock freaking Beto O'Rourke. But my encouragement to you in like real life, when you're confronted, when you're around other people that are in pain, don't run from it, don't hide from it, don't try to fix it, but sit in the pain and suffering of other individuals and ask, how can I help? How can I be of service to you? How can I inconvenience myself for the other in this moment? Because you're more important to me. Maybe we get back to a culture, maybe we get back to an America, a society that is more concerned about how to help my neighbor across the street, how to help the lady that needs help with her groceries, the lady that's on the subway that's getting the crap kicked out of her. How do we help the actual pain and suffering in our life instead of worrying about how many likes did I get on my post? I'm worried about myself right now. I need to just like seclude. I need to run. I need to hide. Confront pain and engage in other people's lives. That's my encouragement to you. Hope you guys have a great day. I freaking love every single one of you that joined me. Honestly, it means so much to me that you watch my show. Again, I hope to bring about some more comedy later on and some funniness and all that stuff, because that's what I'm more about. But when I see actual pain and suffering, I can't mock this. I can't make fun of this. It's not my thing. And I'm not gonna get political, because that's what these stupid politicians do. They take these horrific circumstances and they are like, okay, now is the time to push down our agenda because people are concerned and are looking for answers. Don't look to your politicians for answers. Don't look to the president for answers. Look, loved ones, God, your community, help each other out. That's my encouragement to you. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. I'm going to end with this silly commercial. I made a new commercial. I hope you guys enjoy it. Have a great day. I freaking love you. I hope you enjoy this commercial. Support me. Go to buymeacoffee.com/Derek O'Shea Show. Link in the description below. Bye-bye. Hello. Consider supporting Derek O'Shea Show. Buymeacoffee.com/Derek O'Shea Show. It's the only way to support my show. I'll drive your grandma to the car. She can't drive her car. She wants to go to the store. Why not let me? Oh yeah, you did? That's great. Would you go to buymeacoffee.com/Derek O'Shea Show? It's the only way you can support my show. And I'll give your grandma a bath. She needs one. I swear, I'll keep my eyes closed. I won't look at her. I'll scrub her back with a big sponge. I won't even scrub the front. That's a promise. Please let me give your grandma a bath.
Sweet.
Hello. That's a nice shirt you're wearing. Would you go to buymeacoffee.com/Derek O'Shea Show? Support me, $3 a month, the only way I grow. And let me shave your grandma's beard. Please. You can see all those grainy hairs coming out there. That's not right. Come on. She didn't live 83 years for her